the Blue Dinosaur 15.5 Throwdown. We're joined by probably the fans' most requested athlete to ever, or requested guest on the project, Garard. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
Yeah, finally got him. We did attempt to get him on at Immortals, but we ran out of time. But it's probably better now that we've got the good equipment and stuff, because it was we were using some shit-ass stuff before. Yeah. That Rode app sucks. So if you're out there and you're buying Rode products, don't use the app because it will crash on you and you will lose your audio file.
Oh, we're high tech now.
Yeah.
We've got flashing lights.
Pretty fancy, boys.
I'm pretty impressed.
And we've got a video, yeah, because Kimbo's on the team now and he's doing all the video work for us. But yeah, dude, thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
No, I'm glad to be here.
How are your quads feeling?
The quads are all good now.
Yeah.
It took me, about at least half an hour to come good. But yeah, it was more just overheating. Like, I was just searching for a towel. Just wanted to have a cold shower after. I tried to go on the rower, and then I tried to get up and walk, and then I tried to go to the air line. Nothing was working, so I just resorted to the cold shower and just stood there for about 5 minutes.
Was that worse than the Norwest experience?
No.
That was worse.
Yeah, that was worse.
That seemed pretty bad.
So that was the 40-degree heat throwdown against Khan, sitting on the rower?
Nah, you're talking last year's throwdown?
Yeah, that was 15.5 last year.
Oh, yeah.
You judged that.
I was
work
judging.
Yeah.
The most generous judge.
Yeah.
It's alright, bro.
Well, I mean, at the time, I had no issues with it.
I wanted to see more records.
Yeah. So you've had quite a good open so far.
Yeah, it's all worked out pretty good for me at the moment, and I'm pretty glad it's all done. And I did each workout once, except for that handstand workout last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, just first time doing that, like the new standard, and my feet weren't sort of together at the top, and sort of making sure I got that dorsiflexion, and only managed to beat it by 6 reps, but it was enough to put me where I needed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy with my performance and how the last 5 weeks have gone.
Yeah.
You might have won the Open in Australia with your performance today. It's possible. Would that change anything for you? Is that a goal for you?
No, not at all, man. I do care. Like, I'd probably care more about top 5 than I do about like
Top 5 originals?
Yeah, and even top 5 in the Open. Like, I'm not one of those dudes that just sits back and just says, yeah, I just want to qualify and focus on my training. Like, every time I compete, like, I make sure that it's my best effort. Like, I'm throwing down as hard as I can, and not making a statement, but just like, yeah, I feel like if you're just doing your best effort and it's all you've got, like, yeah, it's going to get in people's head and know that you're serious and that you're trying to go all the way.
So let's before we jump into too many things, how did you get into CrossFit?
I got into CrossFit after I discharged out of the military.
Yep.
2012. I'd always been interested in fitness and health and working out, and I never really found like a niche for me, so to speak. I tried out lots of different sports and got to really high levels in lots of other sports, but didn't pursue it to the top.
Yep.
What sports are they?
Rugby league, touch football, field hockey.
Field hockey?
You're a fiery player?
Yeah, man.
Field hockey? I didn't know that shit. That's crazy. That's cool. Yeah, field hockey.
Yeah, that's how I ran into Keegan Smith. We used to play on the same team together in indoor. Yeah, I did like a trip to Russia, Poland, Germany for indoor hockey.
Oh wow! How old were you when doing that?
I was 16.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always like done a variety of sports, and I think that's what intrigued me about CrossFit, and that's what's been able to keep me in this sport as long as I've been doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just pretty much went on YouTube, saw Rich Froning carving it up, like fittest on earth, like all these videos, and it's just so foreign and new to me. And there was a competition coming up called the Open, and I was looking at these videos in January, and I was like, just speaking to my little brother Ricky, and I'm like, oh man, let's sign up. Like,
yeah.
This looks mad.
What year was that?
2012.
Okay.
And you did pretty well in that one. Started off with 7 minutes of burpees. I think
Yeah.
you came 27th in Australia.
Yeah. So I've done burpees like the last 4 years in the army, and yeah, I was like 7 minutes of burpees. I was like, okay, cool, I can do that.
Was that when you realised you're like, oh, pretty good? Like my first thing, I'm 27th.
Yeah. Checked the leaderboard, and I was like, what the hell? Like,
This is in a Globo as well, like in a stringlet. Were you like
Yeah.
bodybuilding back then or something?
Plus fitness 24/7 gym
Nice.
with a tee back on.
With a stringlet.
I remember,
Yeah.
this video was online. I think it wasn't an affiliate. I remember watching it.
Yeah, I was online video
Yeah.
submission. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but yeah, a few dodgy reps here and there. But
How many
I put
reps
it
did
up
you
for
get?
everyone to see.
Do you know how many reps
yeah,
you got?
132. And I remember the video, like, went out of the game fucking hard.
Yeah.
It was all on.
Yeah.
Nothing really changed.
You've just been able to go out harder for longer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you? So you qualified for the Open, and they were taking top 60 that year, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I came 36.
Yep.
Oh, so comfortable finish.
Yeah, I finished strong in the last thruster pull-up workout.
Okay.
Sort of secured my spot.
Were you doing butterfly pull?
Nah, single single just kipping.
Strict.
Pretty much. Reverse.
Came 22nd in Australia.
Really?
Under grass. Mixed
Holy
grip.
shit.
I was battling.
That's cool.
Had you done like 1 million pull-ups in the army?
Yeah. I could probably get like maybe 28 strict pull-ups when I started CrossFit.
How heavy were you that year in 2012?
I think it was like 82 kilos,
And how much you weigh now?
83, 84.
Okay, so it hasn't changed a whole lot.
Nah, my body's just changed a lot in just where the muscle mass is.
Yep.
Like when I started, like had like big chest, big tries. Like that's pretty much the training I was doing. And
So wait, what's changed, sorry?
not much posterior strength at all.
Yeah.
Not as bigger legs. Like
Were you squatting?
yeah, I was squatting. I think I could squat 180, back squat,
Yeah.
deadlift 210,
Okay.
and bench like 140.
Yeah.
When I started.
And all those numbers have increased?
Yeah. Oh,
It-
except for my bench.
What, is it gone down?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, CrossFit's benches always suffer,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah, I know.
Always go down.
CrossFit prepares you for the unknowable and everything, but not bench press.
Nah, no one's good at
Yeah.
bench at CrossFit. So you went to regionals that year, 2012. I remember watching you and just thinking like, there's this like really jacked dude out there, but I don't think he knows how to squat properly. So
And we also do the overhead squats in particular.
Oh.
that's what I was referring to. So
Overhead mobility, thoracic, like it still haunts me to this day. Like I've come a long way since then, but yeah, 30 kilo barbell. I had to do 50 reps.
Yeah, I remember this.
And I think I was doing singles after like 10. Like my biggest set was maybe 5
Looked like your
reps.
right shoulder was eating your left shoulder.
Oh, bro. I was in all sorts of trouble.
so
Barely making
Was that the
depth,
biggest
like-
challenge coming into CrossFit?
Yeah, for sure. Like my hands were as wide as the bar could go. It was in
Yeah.
the head.
yeah.
And I was trying to get these overhead squats done.
So if you weren't, so you qualify for the regionals. From there, do you just go, I can still do this thing myself? Like I'm just going to train by myself, or did you go to an affiliate and start with a coach or anything, or YouTube, or
Nah, yeah, YouTube.
YouTube was your coach?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
and
What
yeah,
videos in particular? Was it like Coach Bergner or something? Like,
mainly Rich. Like I was trying to copy Rich
Yeah.
and just watch how he moves and just yeah, I'd pretty much just set up all night watching CrossFit videos, and once the workouts got released, like that was my focus. Like,
Yep.
trying to lift that freaking 45 kilo dumbbell, couldn't do a single rep. Those hang cleans, like the furthest I got into the workout was like 14 reps.
but
yeah.
no one had taught you any of this stuff.
Nah, man.
You were just figuring it out.
Yeah.
You just figured out cleans and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
How much did you train then? Did you like just wake up, I'm going to the gym, I'm working out hang cleans today? You
Yeah,
just train an hour a day?
it was before I had my affiliate, and I had some money saved up from the army, and I was living at home, not paying rent, so I had a lot of time on my hands, and yeah, I'd spend like the majority of the night at the 24-hour gym training, learning how to snatch. Like,
Could
on
you
the
drop
platform.
weights?
At the time, they had bumper plates, yeah. So yeah, we had rubber floor, so that wasn't an issue.
You were the pest, just like all day lifting weights.
pretty much.
Did you have a goal before that, or were you just training to look good before you found CrossFit?
I'd always I didn't do bodybuilding, but I
Okay.
trained in that sort of hypertrophy style.
Yep.
But the military, obviously, you need to be fit and conditioned. But it was more about like work specific stuff, like tires and sledgehammers and jerry
Yeah.
cans and like weighted carries and pack marches and stuff. So I had like that endurance and that engine base from there, but just not the specific skills and
Yeah.
lifting. Never done lifting before.
So do you think that, because I know James Fitzgerald, OPT, says that some of the best background that people can have is bodybuilding. Do you see it pay off to this day? Any of that sort of stuff? or like just moving those auto checks and maybe just being in the army, having that mental toughness on those pack marches and stuff? Like, do you ever use that training, you think? Like,
Yeah, that stuff transfers over like really well, and I think it still helps me to this day. Is more so that discipline and that mental toughness.
Yep.
Doing some of those longer sort of logs and uncomfortable workouts in the military, and that strict strength coming into the sport like helped me a lot.
Yep.
And just my joints and my tendons and everything like was sort of strong enough to handle the loads. It was just a matter of becoming mobile enough and learning this technique,
the skills,
to be able to do everything. Yeah.
Is there a particular story that you or moment that you could tell us that you did in the army that you still kind of come back to, that sort of you use as mental toughness? I don't know, like a 48-hour pack march or something, or eating mud, or like, I don't know.
No, not really, man. Like I didn't get the opportunity to hang out with the big dogs like the commandos and the SAS or nothing like that. Like I was more trying to pursue the PTI path.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like physical training instructing. So some of that infantry sort of real mental toughness stuff I didn't get to experience.
Okay.
So the majority of the time I was working out with people that I was way fitter than, just trying to encourage them, keep them going, get them through the workout. But yeah, some of it's still been really powerful for me in CrossFit.
Yeah. And what made you leave the military? Were you just wanted a new path, or?
Yeah, I came back from a deployment in East Timor.
Yeah.
And I was over there for 9 months, and then once I got back, like I went on a holiday and stuff, and then I had trouble like getting back into the
discipline,
military lifestyle.
Yeah.
A little bit. So like kind of like adjustment disorder, and then had a little bit of trouble with like mental health, and that sort of leading me towards like, is the military for me? Is it not? Like I had another like sort of 16 months before I could be a PTI. So then I started to lose interest, and it wasn't really for me. So I moved on to something that I was a bit more passionate about.
Yeah.
So you finished that regionals, and I think that is the most sort of mysterious time between 2012 and 2013 that people want to know about. Because you went from like, oh, this guy's pretty good at CrossFit, came back in 2013 and sort of like shook everything up. I remember first seeing you at the throwdown in Campbelltown, southwest Sydney, and sort of like everyone was talking about you. I think you won that one. That was the one out in the heat around the oval. And then came into the open and like you were tearing it apart and came fourth in the first workout. What happened in that 12 months? Were you like in dungeon training? Did you get a coach?
No, he was inactive. I remember walking in one day and I'm like, what the fuck? Who is this guy? It's like, how can you fit that much muscle on that person? And then,
I was hanging out with Courtney, Fitzharris and Lynn, and they introduced me to Martin Harlow. Did like a few weightlifting sessions with him. Like I knew that was something that I needed to learn how to do. And then I'd swing past active and sort of jumped in on that maybe once or twice a week. Met Chad and Starry, and I'm not sure how long I did that for, but it just become a little bit unsustainable living in Mittagong and the travel and like the toll it would have on me like the next day and the remaining of my week. So once I'd sort of got on my feet, learnt some of the lifts and the techniques to focus on, and had a bit of a structure and some sort of a program to follow. Signed my affiliate space in June, which was 1 month after the regionals.
2013?
Yeah, 2013. Okay. And then from that day on, I pretty much just dedicated myself to becoming the best I could be in that space and have enough members to make rent.
Yeah.
I was out chopping firewood to bring in extra income to cover the rent to start with.
It's like Rocky style.
Extra training.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine doing it now, but that's how it sort of went at the start. And I was just all about competing. Like I need to compete. Like I need to.
Because you did so many comps then.
Oh yeah.
Like, people were almost getting angry because you were just going like comp to comp.
Every comp.
And just I'll just collect prize money.
Oh man, like. It was just my mindset was like, I need to test myself, I need to learn, I need to compete.
How many comps did you win in that year?
Oh, maybe like 4 or 5.
There was one comp you didn't win though. That was at the army base. Came third. What happened?
Yeah, that was like a charity army event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's no prize money. Yeah, what happened there? CJ Walker beat me.
Ah.
And then Bakes beat him in the next heat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right.
that was one workout.
It almost reminded me of like Kimbo Slice.
That doesn't count.
Like Kimbo Slice slide deal, like going around winning street fights, and just taking out all these street fights, and everyone waiting for the open.
Yeah.
Well, back then, like I had no anxiety about competing. Like, I had nothing to prove.
Yeah, underdog.
Yeah, underdog, and I was just like throwing down, and I was having fun, and I was traveling. So yeah, it wasn't really stressful for me. It was just enjoyable. And then like the more comps I started winning, like the more I believed in myself. But then the closer you get to the top of the sport, that's when you start like feeling pressure and like having to deal with the anxiety and the expectation and things like that. So yeah, I think it worked out. Like I've been either first or second in every individual competition I've been in, except for regionals. So,
And you came second today.
Yeah.
I'm good at coming second lately.
So you didn't. You had an interesting 2013 Open.
Started off with fourth in the snatch workout, which is pretty unbelievable. I think you got 9 reps on the 70 kilo bar in the year before in the snatch workout.
I don't think that was a snatch either. I think it was a high pull to press.
I dislocated my shoulder on the last rep of that workout.
In 2012?
There you go. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Like, and I was like hanging with a kettlebell. Like,
So like everyone sort of took note, I think, after that workout. And then I remember the week 2, it was that awful 10 minutes box jumps, push press, and deadlifts.
that workout.
And you posted before, like, can't wait to post my score. And like I think everyone was sort of waiting on it. And when it came out, everyone was like, what? Does that shit fit in 10 minutes? And everyone was talking about it. And then I guess a lot of people know what happened next.
Well, you won in the world, right? You got the best score in the world.
Yeah.
It was the best
Did
score
I
in the
post?
world.
I made a video.
You posted, and then not many people knew, but the video came out a couple of days later. I think it was at Southwest Sydney.
Was it later or was it like before the cutoff?
The video?
Yeah.
I saw the video the day after the cutoff, but not many people had seen it. I remember it had only a few views on YouTube. You probably know when it came out, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just remember being like so pumped with my effort. And I fucking
It
nailed
was insane.
And then I got home and I was just like making this video on my bed and
Do you remember what you got?
edited
Because
it.
it's not in
put
it's not in the
splits
Open
and
anymore.
everything. 427.
Yeah.
I think.
I think the next best score in Australia was like not even 400.
I honestly can't remember.
13 rounds
Yeah.
plus like 11 box jumps or something.
And so how did that all play out? So obviously the video got released and then HQ rejected it? Or wasn't it at first HQ approved it and then they went back on their word and rejected it?
Yeah, so I went to Southwest Sydney for that workout to be done at an affiliate because previously I'd done video submission and I didn't have an affiliate at the time.
Yep.
So I went there to fulfill that requirement,
Uh-huh.
got myself a judge, like
Yeah.
did the workout, was hopefully like because they were to validate it. I didn't video it as a video submission. Like
Right.
I videoed it for my own personal viewing.
Yeah, of
to
course.
see, like,
Yeah, of course. You're an athlete. You got to know your times, how you move.
just
Yeah.
check my movement patterns
Yep.
and try and learn from it. So yeah, I literally had a GoPro on the ground, like back of my box, and my judge at the time, like Chris Slight, he was just like didn't take notice of the camera where it was because it's not a video submission.
Yep.
And then I went about the workout like he was standing in front of the box for the majority of my box jumps.
Yeah.
Slightly in front of my deadlifts.
Yeah.
So like kind of like half the reps you couldn't even really see what was going on.
Yeah.
And people were like blowing up about that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that they think it was a video submission when it was done in an affiliate.
Yeah.
And then how it all worked out, like Justin Berg contacted me.
Sorry, who's that? Is he
via
from
email.
CrossFit?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's like
He's the right-hand
on the
man
same
of Castro.
level with Dave Castro.
Yeah.
With like the,
He's in all the videos and that. Yeah.
he helps like coordinate all the games. And
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, he contacted me. It was a week later, like 9 days later. I'd already done 13.3. And I posted like a pretty sweet score in that.
Yeah.
And then, I got this email of Muscle Driver, like, oh, we want to sponsor you. And I was like, oh, this is sick. And then the next email was like, CrossFit HQ.
Oh, they literally follow one after the other.
Yeah.
And what did you think when you saw it? You're like, oh, they're sending me prize money. Like, I've got the best score in the world.
Pretty much.
And how did that email read?
Yeah,
What was the gist
they
of it?
just said, like, intrigued you into the prize money.
Uh-huh.
They said, like, you posted the top score in the world. Like,
Yep.
$2,013. Do you have any video evidence of this performance? Could you please send it through? And I was a bit like spoke to my coach at the time, and I was a little bit sus about the whole thing, and I wrote back to them. I'm like, yes, I've got video footage of my workout.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a video submission. It's my GoPro. It's sitting on the floor. My judge is in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I told them all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then they just pretty much wrote back like short and sweet. Yeah, that's fine. No worries. Send it through. Check it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, what do I do? Like, alright. And then I sort of like uploaded my video onto Vimeo, reduced the file size and everything so that I could send it across to them.
Yep.
And that took me ages, and like mentally I was like, what am I doing this for? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, everyone was like, oh, send it in, it'll be sweet, like you get paid, like you get money. I was like, alright, I'll send it in.
What if you hadn't sent it in? Would they have
If I hadn't
rejected the
sent it
score,
in-
or they just take the next person?
Yeah, I would have.
It would have been sweet.
It would have been sweet.
Okay.
I would have had the top score in the world.
Yep.
I wouldn't have had prize money.
Yep.
But they couldn't have done anything about it. It was
Yep.
at an affiliate with a judge, so it
Yep.
would have been sweet.
Yeah.
And then like that was soon after the workout, and then that 9 days later that I was talking about was when I got the email that said, we've reviewed your video footage, you didn't meet the movement standards on several of your deadlifts for bouncing the deadlifts and not reaching full extension on your box jumps.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, your score is invalid. You've been given a score of 0. And then that was it. Like, pretty much all the best for the next 2 workouts.
What did you think when you read that email?
Oh, dude, like, I was like devastated.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Were you just sitting there by yourself? Or
Yeah, I was at my gym.
Okay. Yeah, so like Ricky wasn't reading it over your shoulder and just like, oh shit.
Yeah, pretty much just got that whole, like, just pale sort of like,
Feeling of helplessness.
Yeah. Yeah, man, just like down and out. And then I was, pretty much resorted back to some of that military training. And
So
I
did
was
you
like,
fight it at all? Did you email them back?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
nah,
man.
this is...
Yeah, I had 24 hours.
Yeah.
They said they'd give me 24 hours and you'll be wiped from the leaderboard.
And what did you do in the 24 hours?
Well, I got like my box out. I put my skins on, the same attire that I had on for the workout.
Yep.
Like I videoed that on Coach's Eye, and the exact same reps and form that I was doing.
You hit the workout.
No, I just did like demonstrations of my technique on that angle to reach lockout.
Yeah.
Because I had skins on, and like my quad and my glutes, and like from a side profile, like things don't really look fully locked out.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching the video now. Like, it's hard to tell
Yeah.
because it's like the camera's at a bad angle to see hip extension. Like, you can't really see.
And then what I do, I did some push presses, videoed those, did some deadlifts, videoed those at the same speed that I was doing, and then just tried to like show them that like my bicep sticks out from my elbow joint, so I'm not like bouncing it like this.
Yeah.
And my hips and my glutes and my quads like make it look like it's a little bit not locked out. And I tried to like argue that, send them through the lines, and made up like a pretty decent argument within this 24-hour period.
Yep.
Who was helping me at the time? It was Chad up at CrossFit Origin, Chad Ether. Yeah, so he was like pretty worried about the whole situation, and he did everything he could. And we looked up the rules and found out like some little things in the rule book that clarified what's going on, and that it was performed at an affiliate, and that you didn't need this video submission and blah blah. So yeah, we back and forth email maybe like 4 or 5 times, and then in the end they were just like short and sweet, like short paragraphs. No, this is a decision. Sorry, all the best for next year, sort of thing.
So you continued on with the rest of the Open.
Yeah,
Still did it. Yeah,
I was
just kind of
fired
prove a point.
Yeah.
And then to prove even more of a point, you had the Fit Blow competition that year.
Sorry, just to put it in perspective, that Open tore it apart. Like, so you came 4,951st in that workout, and surrounding that workout was your worst position was 4th in the snatch, and then you came 2nd the week after, 1st in week 4, and then 2nd in that chest to bars and thrusters at the Blue Dinosaur Throwdown. Obviously, you won the Throwdown, but 2nd in Australia. So these are in Australia.
Oh, that's right. That was across at Bodie. Yeah.
So, I mean, it left everyone thinking, like, is the fittest man in Australia not going to regionals this year? Is that what you thought?
At the time, I did, because
Yep.
I was oblivious of like how hard it is to make the CrossFit Games
Yep.
and what sort of level they are all on. But I worked out that I would have came 6th in the world in the Open, like
Yep.
a couple points behind like Jason Kalipa, and like knowing that, and like it was pretty like I was pretty fired up to like prove a point, and yeah, that's why I continued on at that sort of intensity for those like fourth and fifth weeks. And I actually even did like the 13.5 like 3 times, trying to just post the best score in the world again.
Fuck these guys.
But I couldn't beat my first effort.
Yeah, that was a hard workout though to make that extra cut.
Yeah,
Have you done it since?
It's hard when you get 170.
How do you think you go now? Do you think you could make it to that extra bracket?
I actually watched my video like maybe like last week. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's tough, eh?
I did pretty well.
It's hard to improve on that. Like I'm sure heaps of people have done it again and not beat their scores. Yeah. So then you had the Fitblow comp.
Yeah,
So this is
April.
Yeah. So this is just before regionals, and it's a tune-up for a lot of the top guys in Australia, as well as sort of a proving ground for new athletes because kind of guys come in everywhere. So yeah, you entered it, and you won it. And so tell us how that sort of went down that whole weekend, because it must have been felt like your regional sort of. There was a lot of big dogs in there.
Yeah, like I had a lot of expectation on myself going into that event.
Yep.
Like it was pretty much going to war. Like I was there to prove a point, and I was never going to back down or not give it my all, especially for that weekend. And yeah, it was pretty stressful at the time, and I was super focused and didn't really talk to people much. And,
Yeah.
And I remember the last day, I was in a good position, and it was an eliminating type final.
Yep.
And yeah, just my mindset was super powerful, and pretty much was just going to do what I had to do to win.
Yep.
And I remember going head to head against James Newberry at the end with the 200 kilo farmer
Yeah,
carries.
200 kilo farmers carry and 24 kilo kettlebell thrusters.
Yeah.
That was an epic battle.
Yeah, it was
and
epic.
did it feel like everyone was on top of you? I mean, it's at the fitness expo. There's hundreds of people watching. It's streamed live as well, right? I think it was.
I'm not sure that year.
I'm not sure. But it's sort of just that WOD with that epic finish, crossing the line and doing the farmers carry and stuff. I think maybe, I don't know how focused you were on sort of where you were at the time, but you had easily got ahead of him. Did you kind of know that at the time before you had the farmers carry, or did you just feel like you were in a constant rush to finish the whole time?
Yeah, I remember him taking off after the first set of thrusters and sprinting down, picking up that farm carry, and I was oh wow, he's on.
Yeah.
This is on. So I was did the same sprint, drop, back to the thrusters, pumping those out.
Yeah.
And then sort of he had a bit of trouble on the thrusters with the kettlebells.
Yeah.
I remember you had a really good rack position, holding them back behind, whereas he was struggling a bit with that.
So you've done a bunch of kettlebell stuff before?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Never done a kettlebell thrust in my life.
You've never done it before?
What?
That's what everyone assumed. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, nah, Ben's got level 7 kettlebell
Everyone was there
instructor.
he's Pavel him a kettlebell.
Yeah.
He molded one himself.
Wow,
that.
I didn't know that was your first time doing kettlebell thrusters.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's
Awesome.
hectic. And I guess your fucking technique worked out well, right?
Yeah, I remember the last couple meters on that farmer carry, I was so close to the line, and my grip was gone, and I could hardly deadlift it off the ground, but sort of just yelled and screamed until I got it across the line.
Yeah.
And then that was a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, and you won that victory, and you kind of
Yeah.
walked around and screamed. There's some pretty good photos of
Hold
that.
out for a
Yeah,
little bit, and maybe a couple of minutes. Until
yeah.
I
You
started
look
to
more
calm
like
down.
a pink alien than an actual human at that point.
That's
when
it.
you see those photos, sometimes does it kind of freak you out a little bit?
Yeah, it's just kind of cool, looking back on some of those experiences and the mindset that I was in.
Yeah.
It's sort of I've had a lot of roller coaster up and down experience in this sport so far.
Yeah, I think that's what makes people so attracted to you as as an athlete. Is that it's been a pretty public path. Everyone knows quite a lot about you, whether that's your own fault or not, and sort of an emotional journey that everyone can kind of relate with and kind of attach to. So I guess that's why you're so popular.
Yeah, I don't regret any of my actions or getting caught up in the moment in certain competitions and
of course,
doing certain things. I don't have any regrets, but it's kind of cool to evolve and work out what is the best approach to make it to the CrossFit Games, which is my ultimate goal.
Yeah, and so that goal was sort of the next one for 2014.
Yeah.
Slowly walking down this timeline. So you crushed it open that year. Were you on a different program? I know you'd sort of changed things up.
Yeah, so I went to watch the CrossFit Games in 2013. I went on WOD tours. I flew out, used my prize money to pay for my tickets, and I met up with Jani Tikkanen. We did a day, a seminar with him, and Bez, Adrian Berridge, introduced me, and he backed him, and he'd been doing the training plan since then, for 12 months before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met him, and when I got back in July, I signed up to the training plan, and I pretty much hit that to a T, and like got the majority of the work done from then up until January.
Yeah.
And that's when I went over to America for the OC Throwdown.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, did you have any training partners back then for that time? You hit it by yourself?
I had Andrew Eden at the time. He was kind of down in my area in the Southern Highlands, working, doing some doing gas fitting and stuff like that. And he used to come train with me whenever he could. My brother was playing footy at the time, so a lot of it was by myself. And he would just jump in whenever he could.
Do you go that insane when you're by yourself?
Yeah, sometimes.
That's a hard program to do by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some pretty miserable stuff in there.
Yeah, so that sort of, the training plan took my training to the next level and gave me that structured approach and hitting all the lifts and the skills and the time domains and that sort of energy systems all in the right sequences.
Yeah.
And that took my sort of abilities to like the next level. And I went to the OC Throwdown in like arguably one of the best shapes I've ever been.
Yep.
And I did really well in LA, and I was staying with Tommy Hackenbrook, Adrian Conway, and like the
That's
youth
right, yeah.
CrossFit sort of family.
Yep.
And they took care of me really well, and that was like a cool memory, like looking back on that experience.
How did that get hooked up?
I went to a seminar at North Head
Yep.
with Tommy Hackenbrook
Okay.
for 3 days.
Yeah.
And I told him that I'm coming over to the States doing the OC Throwdown.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh yeah, sweet man, you can stay with us. Like we'll buy you food, and take care of you, and we'll take you to and from the event." And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
"Oh, bro, like,
Yeah,
that's unreal because I'm coming by myself."
Yeah.
And that comp went really well for me, and I was in first with like a marginable lead going into the last day. Pretty much had it locked up, and then they had like a 3-scored event final.
That no one finished?
Yeah.
Or even got to touch the last piece of equipment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they doubled like one of the strength brackets on the second day, and like bumped everyone back up within a couple of points of each other.
Wait, so they changed the scoring of one of the workouts midway through the competition?
Yeah.
So Ben was leading, and then they went back and changed it, and you got pushed down, I think, one spot.
I took 17th, which was like my worst scored event at the time, or for the whole weekend, and they just doubled it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 34 points instead of 17.
It was quite controversial.
I did not know this. I knew there was some sort of scoring thing, but I didn't realise that they'd changed the thing at the time.
Yeah, there was no athlete briefing. There was no sort of heads up about it.
How'd you find out about it then?
After the workout.
After the
Yeah,
at the end of the weekend?
No, I checked the leaderboard once I'd finished
Right.
the strength bracket.
Yep.
And saw like double the points. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Like Sam Briggs had a marginable lead as well.
Yeah.
And then boom, she was back down in like
Yeah. A lot of people were saying it was against the foreigners. A lot of I remember Ryan Fisher profited pretty well out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Sam and
Kenny
Ben,
Leverage.
all of a sudden went down, and
Bumped Lindsay up, bumped Camille back up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you can do that running a competition. Just change the scoring after it's been done, and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess probably not the worst thing once you throw down's done.
Especially that.
I still went back.
Yeah. You always got something to prove.
Yeah, so I finished that
Yeah.
final on like locked up like even points with Julian Cerner, but he won the first, second, and third scored events for the final.
Yeah.
So they gave him the win on tiebreak because he's had more first place finishes,
Right.
which was against like top 24 instead of the whole field of like 60. So took second there and sort of pretty bummed actually, and lost went from like 10 grand prize money to 2.5.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was cool.
Did your life change at all after that victory? People start knowing you.
Yeah, it did actually. Like, got my name out there in the States.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone knew about it here, but that's a huge deal in America. That was the biggest competition outside of the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
And like you came second.
Yeah. Then we had like some big name athletes there, and Kenny Leverage and like Ben Stoneberg, and at the time like lots of games athletes. So I think it got my name out there in the States and set me up for opportunities which I've now capitalised on.
That's when CJ approached you?
Yeah.
So
had a chat with CJ Martin after the final, and we sort of got on pretty good at the time, and I would told him what I've been up to, following the training plan in Yami, and he had nothing bad to say about him. Like, he's like awesome coach, had a lot of respect.
Yeah.
But I just said to him, I was hoping to get a little bit more feedback and a little bit more individualized, personalized programming.
Yep.
And he said that he's got my back and he'll do it for free, and like he wants to see me succeed and saw potential in me. So, when I got back from the States, I was in touch with CJ and emailing back and forth, and then he started individually programming for me to lead up for regionals. Yeah.
And who else were his individual athletes at the time? Was it just Josh Bridges and Camille, or did he have a whole bunch of other people?
I think he had Lauren Fisher as well, and maybe like 3 or 4 others.
Yeah, like maybe Asia Bardo or like someone else.
He didn't have many. I remember he didn't have many.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
That was before a lot of the athlete success, Lauren Fisher and stuff. How much did your training change then? So you did training plan, which is, I don't know if people know, but it's like pretty high volume, a lot of Olympic weightlifting, a lot of strength, probably not a lot of what you would call normal CrossFit, not a lot of like 5 rounds per time, chest to bars, GHD sit-ups. What was CJ's programming like?
Pretty much all that, what he just said, like CrossFit.
Heaps of CrossFit.
So it's sort of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opposite. And it was cool because my body wasn't used to that. And like I sent through a whole heap of weaknesses and like overhead squat, like thoracic mobility, like endurance, like running and swimming, and like his focus and like my focus was like pretty much training for the CrossFit Games and building my capacity to be able to do well once I made it, and still trying to focus on regionals, like obviously because you need to get there, but yeah, like lots of volume, 30-minute EMOMs like 2-3 times a week, like weight and vest runs, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, like 30-40 minutes there.
You're talking hard 30-minute EMOMs, like barely making each minute.
Like I've had a couple where like I just couldn't finish.
Yeah.
And I tried again and just couldn't do it.
You kept trying the
I'll tell you one of them, I remember it. It was 15 unbroken wall balls at 15 kilos in the first minute. And then it was 6 deadlifts at 140 on the second minute with 3 bar muscle ups. And then it was 12 burpee over the box with 2 20-kilo dumbbells in the third minute.
What?
For 30 minutes.
And how close did you get to finishing?
Dude, like, I think my best was like 16 minutes.
Wait, how many times have you done this?
I tried 3 times.
In how long? Like,
holy shit.
He just programmed it for me again.
Oh,
He's
really?
like, don't be a pussy. Finish it.
I'm trying. Was anyone else doing that workout? Was Bridges doing it or finishing or anything like that?
No, I hadn't seen anyone doing it or posting scores or anything.
So as far as you know,
but like I told him I didn't finish. I told him where I tapped out, and he programmed it again for me the next week. I was like, no.
So did you speak to him? Like, would you have Skype calls with CJ? Did you give us any insight into what he's like as a coach? Did he like inspire you, or does he like get back to work?
Yeah, we Skype called maybe like once a fortnight, once a week.
Yep.
Closer to regionals, he started to like ramp it up a bit, like once a week, and checked up on like how I was doing and stuff. But he's very like inspirational in the way that like mental toughness, like he doesn't give a shit. Like he tells you how it is. Like if people have finished the workout, like he'll say to me like, Ben, like you need to step up. Like he's not like, oh okay, take a rest there.
Yeah.
Like he's sort of pretty upfront with you about that. He's just like all about like just training your weaknesses and building those up as best you can and trying to become as well-rounded as possible, but like a shit ton of volume.
Like how much are we talking here? Did you do double days? Did you triple days?
Yeah, like double days. Like sometimes I was there 3 times a day. Sometimes I'd like go home and nap after I'd coach and go down and train at like 9:30 at night.
So that you're doing all this and trying to run an affiliate at the same time.
Yeah.
And do you have other coaches working for you at your affiliate during this time?
I had, like 1 or 2 other dudes helping out, like doing a couple classes a week.
But you're still taking the majority of classes?
The majority, like 20 classes a week type thing.
Yeah. And so at what point did you start to realize that you weren't kind of ready? Or like when did you feel like your peak was off or you needed more rest? Like what kind of started to happen? Because I know, you excel.
Yeah, so I think people like just need to be careful with online programming, even though it's with like one of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah,
like you need to be tracked and you need to be seen visually and like how you're coping and how you're doing. and it's hard to like read those signs and signals off like a Skype call.
Yes.
And like obviously when you're going to talk to someone like CJ Martin, you're going to be like, oh hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Like
Yeah.
and you sort of kind of say you're doing better than you actually are.
Yeah.
So you have to be really upfront and honest with whoever's coaching and programming for you.
Yeah.
On how you're doing. But in saying all that, like I just thought that's what it takes. Like I had a lot of respect for him and still do. And he trained Josh Bridges and like Camille and like all these big name athletes, and I'm like, all right, this is just what I got to do.
Yeah.
This is what it takes to be a games athlete.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just gave it my all.
Yeah.
And just trusted it and just put in.
Yeah.
But week after week, I started to like my recovery started to suffer, and then. Like,
How did you know that? How did you sort of...
I think just like not feeling energized.
Yeah.
Like, started to like not enjoy it, and like just suffer through the workouts, and just getting it done type thing. Like going through the motions, like still hitting the intensity. But
we call it survival mode.
Yeah.
Were your numbers dropping?
Nah. My
Okay.
strength numbers were still going up.
So your performance was still good, but
Yeah.
mentally you were starting to
Mentally,
really...
I was like struggling a little bit.
Yeah. And then how close out of regionals did you come down with this sort of like peak of overtraining and sickness? And
Yeah, like I think if the regionals was like a week before, like the weekend before, like things would be definitely a different story.
Yeah.
But that self-expectation and pressure and like that sort of, I missed out on the regionals the year before, so all that was sort of compounding and like coming closer to the event. Like I started to like get really anxious and like nervous, and
are you losing sleep?
yeah, my sleep was getting a little bit interrupted, and then my body wasn't recovering. Like I felt like a little bit weaker, and I was trying to like keep my nutrition and everything on track, but it started to like get to me. Like those weeks leading up to regionals, I did the workouts, the whole thing, and then like I reported back all my scores and everything. I was like, sweet, all right, let's go again, whole thing. So like every single workout.
Wait, within a 7-day window?
Yeah, like this is within like as soon as they got released.
Okay,
so like
so
that 2-week window.
Okay, so you did the regionals weekend twice?
Yeah.
Shit.
Not over the 3-day period, but throughout the week.
Okay, yeah.
That was the majority of my training.
Yeah.
How much did you snatch in those attempts?
I was like 116 kilos.
Yep.
In training, and then on the day I got 98.
Yeah.
And like my naughty Nancy time was like pretty crazy. Like it was good in training, and I improved my handstand that event 4 by a lot on my second attempt, and everything was looking good. Like I was pumped for the workouts. Like everything was kind of like in my wheelhouse. There was nothing that was going to cause too much damage. That last workout, the overhead squat, like I was a little bit worried about that.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time working on making sure I got those 9 reps unbroken.
Yep.
And then pretty much just like on the Sunday afternoon, like 5 days out from regionals, like I just like my throat closed up, like I just got like everything was just like wasn't really functioning. My glands swelled up and got like really sick. Like couldn't even swallow like at all. Like couldn't even drink water.
Wow. And
then I was like, shit, like I gotta go to doctors.
Yeah.
And then Monday, the next day, I was like, just went to just a doctor straight away, and he prescribed me some like antibiotics and didn't really care, and like swabbed my throat and like hurt like hell. And then,
I'm going to stick some wood in your mouth. I don't really care how much it hurts.
So then I was like, nah, this guy's like not going to help me out.
Yeah.
So I went to Dr. Sam Reways in Mittagong, and it's sort of like an emergency, and he fit me in and like took really good care of me from the start and pumped my whole body through like a drip to try and rehydrate me. And we put like 30 grams of vitamin C intravenous, B12 through that, and like
pretty extreme
intravenous antibiotics.
Oh wow!
And like taking antibiotics on top of that. So this is on Monday, and then he's like, he knew that I had to compete on Friday, and he was like really cool about it, and he was like, he wanted me to be there.
Yeah.
And he knew how much it meant to me. So then Tuesday, same sort of thing, trying to get fluids in through the drip because I couldn't swallow, and then taking like aspirin and like all these painkillers from my throat, and pretty much just did nothing but try and like recover.
No training whatsoever?
Medically, yeah.
No, not
Pretty
really
much
eating anything
Sunday,
either?
Monday, Tuesday, no,
Yeah.
couldn't eat. Like, try to get soups and stuff down.
That wasn't really working either?
Nah, man. I was
So
just
you-
like forcing myself to get the tablets down to get rid of some of the pain.
So you had like 0 calories in like 4 or 5 days?
Yeah, 4 days.
Fucking hell.
So that's sickness. Do you think the training, like it was the result of sort of like a downward spiral in your immune system because of the overload of training, or do you think it was just bad luck?
Nah, it was definitely a combination of like all those things that I spoke about, like the training
Stresses.
volume, the stress, like,
Yeah.
and then a little bit of bad luck, and like I think just my immunity was a little bit low, and then easily catch some stuff. So
And did you think it was over before you went down, or were you like, nah, I'm hurting, but I'm still going to win this shit?
oh man, it was like probably one of the hardest weeks of like my life, really.
Yeah.
Mentally, like going up and down, like I'm gonna come good, I'll still do it. It's like I'm out. Like, and I went to the gym on Thursday, haven't done anything all week. Just tried to do a little test run of everything, like just bits and pieces of the movements, and tried to do some snatches. Like couldn't even snatch 90. Like doing some pistols and like practicing. And I was like, damn, like I knew I was done. But
Yeah.
my brain just wouldn't let me pull out. Like I wanted to pull out, but it wouldn't let me. Like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do my best, and then sort of channeled my mind towards like my family and people that support me throughout the year, and sort of try to do it for them as much as myself. So yeah, that was a tough weekend.
Where was CJ in this kind of point? You know, obviously you told him you were extremely sick.
Yeah.
And was it just like he kind of disappeared, or he was just with you every day? Like, man, we can do this, or let's just do our best, or how did it kind of go with him?
No, he was with me like every day,
Mhm.
and he was like trying to pump me up. We had a Skype call on the Thursday night, I think it was, before the regionals.
Yeah.
And he's just giving me examples of like Michael Jordan, like being down and out sick, and like pulled off some like 3-pointers and like
Everyone
won
knows the game with
championship.
the flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he still believed you could do it.
Yeah. He still believed, and like he was talking me into that, and
It's
I was
awesome.
like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go. Like I can do this.
Yeah.
And then like he knew the state that I was in.
Yep.
And then he reported in like every day straight after the events. Like watched it online. Got up at like 2 a.m, checked it all out. And he was like stoked with my naughty Nancy time, and he's like, "You gave it your all. Awesome, bro."
You definitely gave it your all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was with me all weekend.
Yeah.
Even up until the last day, he's like just hanging there, like just keep going, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he never really backed down in that sense.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And like I wore an Invictus shirt, and like I had that quote that he always lives by, like in my room at my hotel. Yeah.
What
What's
is
the
it?
quote?
I've gone mind blank.
It's like,
Is it a Rise to Conquer quote, or-
yeah, it's not, I think it's like a religious reference, a Christian sort of reference. Yeah, I think it's something about maybe sailing the sea of fear or something. I don't
It
know.
was more of just a reminder to like keep going.
I butchered the shit out of that.
I think it's that one.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely
sailing the sea
Sailing
of
the
fear.
Sea of
Yeah, that's it.
So what was going through your head on that last event at regionals? I think a lot of people remember it. Sort of can't finish, kind of knew he'd won, and then like everyone was like, "Oh, where's Ben?"
Yeah.
And you were sort of over there, like still going. A lot of people had finished, battling away with the overhead squats. You know, most people, or nearly everyone, didn't know what had happened. Most people were thinking, "Oh, like he's not as good maybe as we thought." Like, what was going through your head when you were battling away with the 90 kilos overhead squat?
Oh man, I was just trying to survive. Like my body and like my mind was just like at its like limit, was empty. So yeah, I was just trying to focus on every single rep of that overhead squat. It was like so heavy, and I was pale. I was probably like 77 kilos at the time,
Holy shit.
and like
That's
pretty
so
much
much weight.
just doing what I had to do to finish it. Like I remember warming up for every single event, and I was just like, my body's just not there. So yeah, I just did what I had to do to survive the weekend, and kept looking it up. Everyone in the stands, like they was watching from my family and my gym, and just got through it, man.
Did you eat over that weekend at all, or did you still not able
Yeah, I
to
could eat by then.
Okay.
Yeah, my throat had like come good enough to eat, and I was trying to eat as much as I could.
Were you hungry? Like, did you have appetite and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you were hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't eaten for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I was pretty hungry.
Yeah, nice. And did you sleep and stuff?
Yeah, managed to get like decent enough sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we leave the season there, 2014, and it's kind of here we are now. So what was kind of the first thing you did at the end of regionals? Was it like, let's take some time off and regenerate, or let's get straight back into it? And
Nah, man, I was pretty much done. Like mentally, my body was like wrecked. Like doing like a regional competition when you're in that sort of state, like, is only going to be like detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
And then it took me like 2 weeks to be able to like even function and like have energy, and I didn't do any training.
So you were just every day you'd wake up tired and
just trying to focus on eating, and I didn't train at all. Like, I was pretty.
Was your mood shit as well? Like,
it's pretty bad. Like shaken up by the whole thing.
Yeah.
But in saying all that, like I'd already signed the contract with San Francisco Fire for the grid.
Okay.
So like channeling my mind towards that. Like I knew I needed to have some time off to recover. But this was May, and then I was going to fly to the US in July 7th to do the draft in Miami. So I had that much time to sort of get myself together to be able to go overseas and try and be in the starting lineup for like a brand new sport.
Yeah, so what's that, like 2 months? Less?
Yeah.
A little bit less?
Yeah.
So did you manage to get it all together? Like,
like those first 2 weeks were rough, and I didn't train, and I was just focusing on my recovery and trying to get healthy again.
Yeah.
And then after that, I sort of started to just focus my energy on the sport of grid, and watched all the videos and all the exhibition matches that were being streamed, and then started to work on my cycle speed and start doing some lifting again. And it was all under like 1 to 2 minutes, so just anaerobic work.
Yeah.
And then I started to like get back on Instagram and post some videos and like build a little bit of momentum.
Yeah.
Like I had a lot of self-doubt going over there in July because of like how sick I was and how weak my body still felt, and like how mentally drained I was from like being at the gym and doing all these movements all the time. But once I got to Miami, we had like a super cool team and teammates, and it was my first experience of grid, and I sort of stepped up for that weekend and secured my spot, so to speak, and like showed them that I had the abilities to be a good teammate. And then went from there, went to San Francisco straight after that.
Yeah.
And had about 3 or 4 weeks before we started our training camp. So that was really good for me mentally. I was able to sort of get out of the rut that I was in back in Australia, like Mittagong.
Yeah.
Had a new gym, I had new faces, like I was able to start hitting some of that training plan and some of the grid stuff again. And I pretty much, those first few weeks in like from August 4th in the training camps, like it was tough, and my body was still trying to rejuvenate.
Yeah.
But then everything started to click and come good again.
When you were in that team, did it ever, like, you had a couple of negative experiences, you had the 2013 Open, and then you had the sickness in the regionals. Were you ever like, sweet, this is way better?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm happy not doing CrossFit anymore, like I'm so happy this is around?
Absolutely, man. Like I was done with CrossFit.
Yep.
Like I was seriously done with it. Like grid and like it's a new anaerobic sport. Like we're on contracts, we're getting paid.
Yeah.
We're getting taken
You're not chopping
care
wood
of.
anymore.
Like, they flew me out from Australia. Like they gave me like accommodation, and they fed us after practice, and like we were in like a professional team, So my mindset is just like all right, sweet. This is what I'm going to do now. Like grid.
Do you think you were better at it? You're like, I'm good at CrossFit, but I'm really good at grid.
Yeah. Like I thought CrossFit suited me.
Yeah.
But then grid came up, and then that like suits me even more. Like, and I didn't do any CrossFit. Like I didn't do anything past like 2-3 minutes. Just didn't care about it. Didn't row. Didn't run.
Yeah.
Didn't do like big sets of gymnastics.
Didn't
stuff.
do 30-minute EMOMs.
Nah, man. Yeah. So just gave myself like a real good break from that. And even like verbally had conversations with the coach and everyone over there that like I'll just dedicate myself to grid and the sport of grid. And
is that what they want?
Nah, not at all. Nah, they want like people like that represent the CrossFit Games and then do grid. Like so much more marketable, and they're really supportive of that if that's like your goals. And
Did they make any promises about where the sport's going? Did they say like, look, we can't offer you that much this year, but this is where we see the sport in 3 years, 5 years. What's happening this year?
No, they're pretty honest in like where they're at and where the sport's at, and they're going to give us like a minimum match payments and like make sure that the athletes are happy and being looked after, and they're going to make sure that is fulfilled.
Yep.
And then obviously they're talking and expecting the sport to evolve, and they've got NBC contracts and 12 matches being viewed live this year, and more money's going to come in, and then we're going to be rewarded as that money comes in. And yeah.
Are you confident that that's going to happen?
Yeah, I am.
Yep.
Yeah, just the people behind it, and the business model, and yeah, the way they're going about it. It's for the fans. It's for the spectators. Like, it's entertaining.
Yep.
It's good for TV. They've got like some of the best people in TV producing the matches, and yeah, some of the sponsors and stuff that they've already signed, and the athletes that are coming into the sport, like
Like strong guys.
Yeah.
yeah, Matt Fraser and Annie is still part of it. And yeah, man, I think it's going to be big.
So there was a little bit of a hurdle in there. I think that you had, was it your personal visa issues, as well as the teams? One of the teams got their funding cut or something, and they didn't. They weren't able to go on, or they were going to cut the last matches. I think it was.
They
Yeah.
cut out some games that year. Yeah, for funding reasons.
Yeah,
And you thought your season was over at that point, right? Is that what had happened, or you
Yeah,
guys?
so-
Yeah.
they put me on a plane to Canada
Okay.
because you have to be out of the US to sort out your work visa. And then I found like a loophole in the system to not have to fly back to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It was just had to be outside the US.
Yeah.
So I was in Canada, like seeing the US consulate and like hoping everything was going to go well, and I'd get my visa. And then whilst I was over there, I was getting like these Facebook inboxes and like our San Fran Fire team page, like there's some stuff happening, and the athletes weren't happy, and they're like, what's going on? And they cancelled one of our matches during the season, and then long story short, like they ended up forfeiting those matches to save money for the championship and the playoffs,
Right.
so that they could still proceed towards that. And a financial investor backed out,
Right.
and then they got one within like a week,
Yeah.
7 days, and it was back on. So.
And I'm sure that was a bit of a roller coaster for you, right? You're in Canada, feeling all helpless and shit, eating maple syrup and bacon and
What
shit.
were you doing? Just training the house down, like
In Canada?
twiddling your thumbs?
No, man, I was like, played 18 holes of golf,
Oh, nice.
Just killing it.
got massage, hanging out for 3 days.
Oh, that's good. Who did you hang out? Did any CrossFit gyms you went to and hung out with, or anything?
In Canada?
Yeah.
Nah, I was in like, I can't remember what city I was in, but I went to like an anytime type gym, did a bit of training there, and pretty much just took like 3 or 4 days off.
Little holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you played 5 games that year?
Yeah, 5 matches.
Yep.
Yeah, I got like the call up in the championship for the last 2 races.
And a lot of people like aren't familiar with how Grid League works. So could you kind of explain like how a match goes, like what your role is on the team?
Yeah, so during a match, there's 11 races.
Yep.
And it's male, female, 5 guys, 5 girls are on the team in the starting lineup, with about 2 or 3 guys and girls on the bench.
Were you on the starting lineup?
Yeah, I was in the starting lineup for all the matches, bar the championship.
Yep.
But then I got called in because someone got injured. And yeah, there's a masters athlete, male, female. There's generally like a super strong dude, like Sam Dancer and like
Pretty strong.
Candice Wagner for our team. And then there's a generally like a gymnast.
Yep.
Which was like Courtney Walker, and then like Buddy Hitchcock was like one of our best gymnasts, and then there's pretty much like 2 spots for like a CrossFit sort of all-rounder, as long as you've got the cycle speed to be able to hang with like the other teams and the other athletes.
That's where you came in?
Yeah, that was mainly my role, just being like shorter sort of stature and like strong enough to handle those moderate weights.
Yep.
And just my cycle speed, and some of the best movements for me was just like burpee box jumps, like pistols and cleans and hang cleans.
I remember you running out in that event, in the thruster event. So you got to do like 95 pounds, and the weights get heavier and heavier. And like I don't think people realize how fast you do 95-pound thrusters. You know, you sort of run out, and it would be like 10 reps in like 3 seconds. Like before you've hit that squat clean, he's done 10.
Yeah, dude.
Do you know the thruster event I'm talking about? So you got to like you run out
in the last race?
Yeah.
where it's like race 11, and then
Yes.
everyone gets chosen for a certain role.
Yeah.
And then they sprint off, and the next one goes.
I think
So-
you blacked out. You just like 3, 2, 1, go, and just blacked out and then
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I thought I moved fast before I got there,
Yeah.
and before I'd played a match, and then like I just realized like wow, like there's not even like time to breathe or time to pace anything. Like it's like 110% all out effort every time you're out there, and it's pretty cool because they only put you in for like your specialties.
Yeah.
And they'll never like put you in, for example, for me for like a heavy overhead squat. Like
Yeah.
it just doesn't happen. So you have the ability to train for your specific role and just keep getting better and better and better at what you're already good at, which is kind of fun. Yeah.
And what was the final like? So you're up against Philly Founders in the final, and I remember the game was going a little bit back and forth.
DC.
Sorry, yeah, DC. I think it was Khan's team, but he wasn't over there.
Yeah, Amy was there. Amy Jacob played.
Yep.
And
And you started in the end because of the injury.
yeah, it was pretty much San Francisco and DC Brawlers like
Yep.
all throughout the season, and they'd won like all of their matches and both undefeated. So we were always going to like end up facing off in the championship, and they had like a super strong team with like Taylor Stallings, and their girls were just insane.
I think they've got her, and she deadlifted
The same
I
weight
think
as me.
50 kilos over my max. I think like 240.
The same weight as
220?
me.
No, 220.
Or like in race 7, we
Yeah.
versed them in the semi-final, and she deadlifted like the same weight as me in the third quadrant. I think it was like 205 kilos,
This is a female.
and then sprinted off. Yeah,
Did that scare you a little bit?
it's all about pounds per second, and I got there way quicker. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
I love it when we compare ourselves to girls. Yeah, so you kind of had an awesome experience with grid, and then it was back home, sort of to reality and stuff. And what decisions were you making when you got back home?
Yeah, so I was on like a massive high after grid. Like everything was like above what I had expected or envisioned. So yeah, when I got back, like Sam Dancer influenced me a lot with my training, and identified like that I had like a pretty weak posterior chain, and he gave me like so many accessory works and like movements and stuff to like build that up.
What sort of exercises?
Just a lot of warm up stuff, like hip circle around the top of the knees, like marching forwards, backwards,
Like
sideways.
glute activation?
Glute activation, yep. Hamstring work, like lots of glute bridges and
Chair
GHD works and reverse hypers.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was like pretty much just hooked into that as soon as I got home, and just focused on my posterior and like just my strength. At this time, I still wasn't doing CrossFit. Like,
So it's for grid. You're doing all this for grid.
yeah, just
in
doing
your
it for
mind.
grid to get
Yeah.
strong,
Yeah.
get powerful. Like, still kept doing those short, sort of explosive anaerobic efforts.
Yep.
And then, I got back, and my little brother had done like the qualifiers for OC Throwdown and Waterpalooza, and he'd like made it through. And he's like, "Bro, I'm going to LA and Miami." I'm like, "What? Sweet." And then I was like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh, alright." I was like, "Alright, I'm going to train with you, and we're going to do this." And then, I rang up Darren from OC Throwdown.
Yep.
It was like a week before.
Uh-huh.
And said, "Have you got a spot for me?" And he said, "Yep, like, you're in." And then before all this, I was always had the intention of going back to Miami for Waterpalooza and being on a team with Sam Dancer and Gerald Sasser.
Okay.
San Fran teammates?
Yeah. Yes, San Fran. Yeah, 5 teammates. And once my brother made the qualifying rounds, then I was like, all right, let's do it. And then I pretty much started doing CrossFit again.
All right. That was the decision to do CrossFit again.
Yeah.
So you hadn't really done much CrossFit at all,
Nothing.
and then you came second at the OC Throwdown.
Yeah.
Well, like, were you doing like grid? Grid has muscle ups and butterfly pull ups and stuff like that. Were there any things that you did at the OC Throwdown? And you're like, fuck, I can't remember the last time I did this. Besides a what?
Besides triple Fran. What did you...
What else did you before? OC Throwdown this year was like pretty suitable for like a grid athlete. It was kind of
Okay.
short, explosive efforts. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember the longest workout, but it wasn't much over like 10 minutes.
Okay.
We had to pull like a sled in the sand. Like, obviously, not many people have done that.
Yeah.
Like hurdle jumps was like a test of explosiveness, and there was like a 21-15-9 with like pull-ups, chest to bar muscle up, increasing weight and thrusters, which was kind of cool for me.
Yeah, that is.
There was like a 600 meter row, heavy deadlift, burpee over the wall, combo, which was like a 5-minute WOD.
Yeah.
That suited me.
You won that one?
Yeah. Yeah, by like 50 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much that's what inspired me to get back into CrossFit. And me and my brother focused on those events as soon as they were released. I think we had about 3 or 4 weeks before we got there.
Yeah.
And the workouts in advance. So we just went through each one of those and started to like build up some of my endurance again and started rolling and swimming and running a bit. Because I didn't want to just put myself in a position of failure if I was going to compete, you know.
Especially you had teammates that were relying on you as well coming into Wodapalooza.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And so it was pretty cool how it all sort of worked out. And that was a successful little trip to America and back.
Yeah.
Once we got over there.
So you did the Wodapalooza in a team, and but Ricky did it as an individual.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had to qualify through both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How did he think he went with his sort of performance? And like obviously you sort of aren't doing the individual competition. I mean, you did it at OC, but you know at Wodapalooza, are you sort of just in your own world, or are you guys all kind of working together and you're supporting him? Like how did that all work out?
Yeah. So we had the privilege to compete against each other at OC Throwdown.
Yeah.
In the same elite individual division.
Okay.
We were in the same heat when we got there. Like he was right next to me, so it was like a pretty cool icebreaker, and that was like a pretty memorable experience.
Yeah.
And then from the rest of the weekend, he was in like the third heat, and I was in like the top heat.
Yep.
So I didn't even really get a chance to watch any of his workouts after the first day.
Yeah, because you're warming up.
Yeah, warming up and getting marshalled, and I couldn't really watch.
Yeah.
So I just helped him out with his warm-up and his prep and his mindset and stuff.
Yeah.
And then sort of send him out on his way.
What was he doing for programming? Was he on training plan or?
Just whatever I was doing.
Okay.
He jumped in on all of that posterior work, and then we just started to
build
get
conditioning
into the
together.
workouts.
Yeah, cool.
And then, I think he placed maybe 22nd.
Was he happy with that?
Yeah, he was stoked.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and he qualified by like 1 point, maybe like 45th. Like he was like one of the last 1 or 2 spots to qualify. So he bumped himself up a lot, which he was pretty stoked about.
Is this for Wodapalooza?
OC Throwdown.
For OC Throwdown,
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
And then Wodapalooza, he went like scaled. Like they had an elite division. Wouldn't call it scaled, but maybe like a.
These are fucking good scaled athletes.
Yeah.
Like Nick
they have every division.
Right, okay.
And he was like 5th or 6th in Central East region.
Yeah.
But they had those elite individual males and females that got invited, and they were all pretty much games athletes.
Yeah.
And then they had Rick's division, which was like...
So it's pretty much games athlete division.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you obviously crushed it over there. You came second in your team?
No, they won.
In the team, we came second, man. Yeah. We had 7-point lead going into the final, and we blew it. Yeah, and we came second.
Was it Sam's fault?
Nah, Sam actually had to pull out because he was injured.
Oh, okay.
At the time, that's when he fractured his patella.
He did that on the weekend of Wodapalooza?
No, he did it about 3 weeks prior.
Oh, okay.
And he was trying to come good and recover for it. And he pulled out of our team, and he was meant to go individual. And we had a replacement athlete was Hunter Britt, which is his training partner and coaches at CrossFit at Sam's gym.
Okay.
So he pulled out of the individual competition after warming up for it, and then has still been trying to come good all throughout the open and everything since.
Yeah, it seems like he's still battling with it.
So just to stay on the American athletes, obviously the numbers in the grid league are sort of out of control. Like girls at the same deadlift as you. And, from the CrossFit perspective, everyone always looks and is like, this shit is out of control. Do you ever think about, like, the use of performance enhancements in the grid league or in those sort of athletes? Because just looking at the numbers, from our perspective, they seem to be, like, on a different paradigm to, the strongest guys here.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool question, and I can see where you get that sort of mindset from. But I had the chance to live in the same household as Sam and as Candace, which is both of our strongest athletes. And I know for a fact that they're not taking anything, like no enhancing drugs or anything that's going to aid their performance that's illegal. So it sort of put it back into perspective for me that there is these freak human potential out there
without using.
Yeah, without using those.
And what was the testing like in the grid league?
Yeah, they started out as a pretty strong drug policy, and they had the intentions of testing all the teams sporadically throughout the season. And they still want to stand by that and they're still going to enforce that. But as the finance and the funding started to slip a little bit, that was one of the things that had to sort of get cut off. But yeah, hopefully they're reintroducing that for this next season.
Did you get tested personally?
Nah.
Have you ever been tested?
Yeah, I got tested at OC Throwdown in 2013.
Yeah.
Straight after the final.
Yeah.
And you've never been tested outside that?
No, I haven't been tested outside that.
And is that something you like really want in the sport? Not for Grid League to go, say, the way of like bodybuilding, like pro bodybuilding, where they just don't test, and it's sort of like whatever goes.
No, I think it's good for like the legitimacy of the sport to keep that strong drug policy, and to show the world that like this can happen without the use of drugs, and hopefully like they're going to keep enforcing that, and I think that's going to be more powerful for the viewers and for people to connect to it if they know for a fact that everyone's clean and that this stuff is just like amazing human potential that being shown on TV.
So talking about TV, so I guess maybe obviously no one has any idea, but maybe in the back of people's minds they're thinking that your relationship with, now you're a good athlete and obviously haven't had the best pass with HQ, them getting rid of your video and stuff, but I mean everything's happening by the rules. But then on the update show recently for this season, you got like a pretty exclusive mention. I think it was the first update show of the year, and that's probably getting millions of views. Well, probably not millions of views, but tens of thousands of views. And then it was like athletes to watch out for, and it was like Ben Garard. Like, did you know that was coming? Did they speak to you about that, or you just?
Yeah, that was a pretty humbling experience actually. Like Tommy Marquez, the guy that did the update show, and like spoke on my behalf. Yeah. I stayed with him and like as part of like Youth CrossFit and that sort of those guys over in OC Throwdown in 2013. Yep. And he was there and he was like supporting me and we got on really well and built like a bit of a relationship out of that. And then he knows my background, like he knows my past, like he knows the sort of potential that I've got. And I think he spoke up to like some of the HQ staff and let them know about me, and then gave them some of my stats, and then they got back to him and was like, let's do a piece on Ben. And he got in touch with me by Facebook inbox. Yep. Asked me a few questions. I answered them. Did like a few back and forth. Yeah. Quick chat. And then he's like, thanks, bro. Really appreciate it. And then I'll let you know when it's up on the update show. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So just on that, because CrossFit they own the CrossFit Games, I guess they sort of employ the judges. They do the programming. Do you ever think, like, when you see something like that, like, CrossFit's backing me, do you think that they need to back you for you to win the CrossFit Games? Because there's so many hurdles you've got to overcome. Do you ever think, like, if they don't support me, it's too hard for me to win the games? They make the rules, like, they do everything. Does that ever cross your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just my experiences with CrossFit, with HQ, like, it's pretty hard for me to not believe that it's a business. Yep. Like, it's not a sport. It's not the sport of fitness. It's like CrossFit is a business. Yep. And like, it's all about like who you know, like who's backing you, your presence in the sport. Like, are you marketable? A lot of that stuff definitely comes into my mind, and I think it's true. And I'm always going to be wary of that. Like, that's why sometimes I have trouble to try and like dedicate my life to this so-called sport when there's so many variables and like things that can't go your way, or like they're just so powerful in their decision-making system. So it's something that I'm always mindful. But
has it changed your behaviour at all, or decisions you've made?
Yeah, I've just invested so much time into the sport and trying to evolve into the athlete I am now, to like, I just can't really let it go. Like, I want to finish what I started. But it's one of those things, like, you've got to go with the grain instead of against it. Like, you can't be that dude that's like, I'm going to win the CrossFit Games, and like you can't just carry on.
You can't hold the middle finger up to HQ and
not
still
at all.
win the games.
Yeah. And once you get to know some of these people, like, they're really awesome and nice, but as like an outsider coming into the sport, like, that's a barrier that you're going to have to cross, and you definitely need to be a part of the community to succeed and do well in this sport, and to do well as a CrossFit Games athlete.
Yeah. Does that worry you with Grid League at all? Because I know some athletes who have been to the CrossFit Games got offers to go to Grid League, and turned it down purely because they didn't want it to affect their chances of winning the CrossFit Games. Not from like a training perspective, but from like a relationship perspective. Does that worry you if your goal is the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, I'm just not sure if like they turned it down for the reason of not being able to win the CrossFit Games. I think they were getting like a lot of pressure from their sponsors, like Progenics.
Yeah,
was a big part of that, and they said to some of their games athletes, like, if you do grid, like, we're gonna.
and
like,
why do you think they said that?
I think they're just trying to keep their loyalty to CrossFit, and they're so successful
In CrossFit?
as a brand and Progenics and everything that they wanted to like show them that level of appreciation, and they threatened some of the athletes in a sense that they'll cut their contract, and which potentially meant money coming in.
Yeah.
And then I think like how close it was to the CrossFit Games was some of the reasons of those like rational decisions from some of the athletes. Like, there's already so much going on, and they're trying to prep for the games, and then they're getting pressured
Like
by
Lindsay
sponsors.
Valenzuela, I think, just walked away all of a sudden.
Yeah. Getting pressured by sponsors, and all this stuff's happening, and they just went like, all right, whatever, I don't want to do grid, like, I'll just do pressure.
It's sort of not the athlete's fault. They sort of like get caught in the middle.
Yeah, for sure.
There's always money under the table and stuff. So, yeah. So, kind of looking forward to this season. You've you've qualified without any sort of having to overcome any hurdles or poor judging in a throwdown. So, you know what's sort of the plan? I know you're following the training plan.
Yeah, so like obviously you've got to learn from your past, and
Yep.
the training plan worked really well for me, and I enjoy it. Like, it's a great program, and have lots of respect and faith in Yami, who comes up with all the programming.
Yep.
So yeah, I've been paying for that program ever since I started back in July 2013.
So you don't get that for free when you
No,
get
man.
I was hoping I would get good enough I get it for free.
I'll hopefully reach out to Yami a little bit more, especially like this week now that the Open's done, and show him that like what I've been doing on the training plan, and see if he wants to help me out a little bit leading up to regionals. But I just really like the way he treats you as a person and as a human, like not like a machine. And he tracks that volume real closely, and he has lots of recovery methods that.
Do you use HRV? I know Yami sort of
Omega Wave.
encourages it.
I've played around with it, but it's one of those things that I don't know like all about it, so I just sort of skip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe if I was like hanging out with you guys a little bit more and give me some insight on some of that technology stuff, like I would do it, but it's not something that I want to invest my time into when I've got to try and train with a coach.
He's big on recovery. Have you done anything new for recovery, like particularly after what happened last year? Have you changed anything this year, not just in your training, but like outside your training?
I know you work with Shannon Brenton now.
Yeah, so I'm working with Shannon Brenton at Precision Sports Engineering.
Yep.
And I go up and like I got a lab blood screen done, and he checked all my cells and found like a B12 deficiency, and like I've been taking some liquid type homeopathic herbs, like the MediHerb brand.
Yep.
And we're trying to organise like Fit and Fresh or some sort of like paleo sort of meals to be sent down to Mittagong to try and improve my diet a little bit more and consistency.
What is your diet like?
Eating.
Because I heard a story that you were in the airport a while ago. Like, I'm pretty hungry. It was like 2 or 3 4 and 20 pies. True.
Yeah, I think
And you still shredded.
when I was hanging out with Active, like Courtney and Starry and stuff for them, House went and got like pies and like this bagel and just like munging out on this food and just looking at it.
Yeah, because that's
It's
not
improved a little bit since then.
okay. So are you like, because no one knows anything about your nutrition.
I think everyone wants to know.
Yeah, are you a paleo guy? Do you Brandon does the milk and peanut butter and stuff? Are you just like whatever's available? Like,
Yeah, I'm pretty much like a convenience eater.
okay,
So
chocolates on the menu, donuts.
lately it's been like lots of chicken teriyaki sushi,
Okay,
some edamame,
yeah,
bacon and eggs, avo, fresh spinach in
Okay.
the mornings, breakfast. Try and like get some calories in with some shakes,
Yep.
just through the NutriBullet, and just
Like protein shakes with carbs in it.
like in the morning I try and make like more of like a organic sort of 180 nutrition, or Evolve's got a new one out that's called Wild Protein, and Shannon hooks me up with some of the whey protein stuff from up there.
world class way.
World Class Whey, that's the one.
Yeah.
And put some berries and bananas and spinach and just bits and pieces, nuts and stuff in that.
Yeah.
How much do you think you eat? Would you say like I'm a guy that eats a shitload of food, or you just kind of eat to keep yourself, energized enough to train?
Yeah, I feel like I don't eat enough personally.
Yeah.
Like,
most athletes kind of feel that way.
yeah,
I think.
I feel like if I had meals prepared for me and had a little bit more like convenience, I would eat more.
Yep.
It's just a matter of trying to
Digest enough for session 2.
food prep and that organising and stuff like. Yeah, not really disciplined with that stuff just yet.
So, so what were you drinking before 15.5 today? Because we were commentating, and you're like getting this, swigging something down, and it had a flammable sign on the side of it.
Yeah, just drinking some whiskey now. Nah, it was Mediherb, like Siberian ginseng. Just see a
what is it? Siberian ginseng.
Ginseng. Yeah.
What does it do?
What's
the secret?
What's the brand? So like 6,000 people can Google this now.
Yeah. So I can just empty my wallet into this.
Oh, dude, like it actually really helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been taking it for like all of my competitions in the last probably 12 to 18 months.
Only in competitions.
Yeah, I save it just for competitions. Siberian ginseng, I got it off a naturopath down in Berrima. And yeah, I don't know too much about the science of the whole thing, but it sort of chills me out a little bit just before I'm about to do a workout. It
You
gives
look
me
really chilled there.
more sustained energy. So it sort of calms me down in a way that I feel energized and like I don't have like lethargic legs and like heart rate's not through the roof. Like it sort of relaxes me. But
it's kind of the opposite of the Ben Garard we see on Instagram, which is like screaming at the camera and smashing.
You've been trying to break your bar for like 4 years now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah. So you're following training plan, but you don't really have any training partners. I know obviously Ricky hasn't qualified this year. He's done like amazing, and he for sure will qualify in the future. So he's just your only training partner basically for now? Like
yeah, he's been my only training partner since October, since I got back from the States.
Yeah.
Has that brought the best Ben Garard, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like we've got like a pretty tight relationship that can't really have with anyone else. Like we're brothers and we're best mates. So yeah, he knows like my sort of emotions and moods, and like we sort of get the best out of each other in pretty much every training session.
Do you live together?
Yeah, we live together.
Okay.
And we just alternate coaching at Benton CrossFit.
Cool.
And yeah, it's going good. But in saying that, like in the next 6 weeks, I'm hoping to reach out to people like Khan and Swanee, and when Dean comes over from Perth, like
get a boost,
do a session here and there with them, and maybe travel to the Gold Coast and train with Hayden Ulfsbauer. Like he's a real powerful dude, and get some good lifting in with him.
He's a strong dude.
Yeah.
On that, so training with those guys, when you're training or when you're doing competition like today, are you thinking like I'm going to get the best score I can get, or are you like looking over the rower like I've beaten Khan today in this? And when same thing when you're in training, are you looking at the leaderboard for motivation, or is it like sort of internal?
I definitely look at the leaderboard for motivation, but more so to see the standard of what needs to be done and what needs to be hit as like a games athlete, as a top athlete. So that's what I did for this workout. Like obviously had to wait till Sunday to do it, but I checked all the scores to go, all right, I've got to go sub 6. I'm going to go sub 6. And yeah, today I sort of had Khan in like my peripheral vision.
Yeah, he was looking over at you.
Yeah, everyone was looking at everyone in that one.
I never sort of actually just looked at him, but I could see him out the corner of my eye. I could see when he was getting off the rower onto his thrusters, like picking up a bar straight away. So yeah, that was fueling my performance a lot. But in saying that, like the majority of my thought process during a workout is all about movement efficiency. Like on the rower, I'm thinking like connect that flywheel, like smooth pull, like shoot that bar straight away, like breathe on every single stroke, at the catch, at the finish. On my thrusters, I'm thinking like mid-foot, like breathe at the top, breathe at the bottom, like trying to just channel that movement efficiency. And my transitions was a big one today. Just like right foot, left foot, bar, breathe, first 5 pulls, don't look at the screen, get it as high as I can, and then settle. Sort of like a little bit of mental rehearsal. I do that a lot.
Like visualization?
Yeah, just mental rehearsal of like what I'm going to be thinking about at certain times of the workout.
Is this a new Ben Garard? Like last year, were you doing this sort of stuff, or was it kind of just like, doing the thrusters, burpees, just fuck, let's just go as hard as you can, or you still thinking the same thing, mid-foot?
No,
breathe
I
at the
think that's
top, breathe at the bottom.
Yeah, a lot more calculated now. Like, I was doing some of that stuff back then, but I just didn't have enough experience to be able to channel it to, like, get the best out of myself.
You definitely seemed like a more mature, composed athlete today. Like, you weren't sort of overwhelmed by the situation. Obviously, you push with the same intensity, but I think you're able to sort of know yourself better, which just kind of comes over time, I guess, with being an athlete. So even though you got an incredible time, it didn't seem like you were in that, frothing at the mouth, kind of spitting everywhere.
I got like so much spit on me when I judged that event.
Oh yeah, bro.
I think everyone did.
All over my face.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, on that, so like last year you won. Today you came second. When you come second today, were you like, oh, it's a good time, like came second, or were you like, I came second, I may as well have come last, like, do you know what I mean? Are you that sort of athlete, or is it like are you happy with second?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I sort of focus on my individual effort.
Yeah.
Like, I know that was like the hardest I could go today.
Yeah.
On the rower, on the cycle speed of my thrusters, my transitions, I could probably maybe get a couple of seconds here and there. But yeah, you just got to know whether that was your best effort. Like, you can't control what Khan did or what anyone else does.
Yeah.
Like, you do know whether like that was your all-out effort. And yeah, going back to what Lockie was saying, I think living with such elite athletes for those 3 months in the US really like matured me and like evolved as an athlete, and being able to sort of hang out, recover with them, eat with them, like just be inspired by them and have such positive people in my life, that sort of evolved me into the athlete I am this year.
Yeah, I think we're definitely sitting across from the best Ben Garard that's physically and mentally sort of ever come into regional. So hopefully some really big things. And we like to always ask all our guests. We didn't get to ask one, but what's sort of a regular morning routine is the key to success. So what does Ben Garard's morning routine look like? Is it up at like 4:15 a.m. and meditation for an hour, or
it's like roll out of bed, load up the bar?
Well, actually, that's probably the most mentally weak I am for like the whole day.
In the
my
morning?
existence, yeah, when I'm in bed.
So what happens?
And my alarm goes
What time
off.
does the alarm go off?
Like, if I've got like a spare minute, like I'll snooze it.
Yeah.
For sure. So,
what time's normally at?
Oh, it depends, because if I've got like the 6 a.m. class, like I'll probably set my alarm for like 5:20 or 5:30.
Yep.
And snooze till 5:40 and like just make it.
Yeah.
And then if I don't have the
Don't
6
worry,
a.m. class,
the members aren't listening.
I'll probably try and get. I always like look at my phone and be like, all right, I need at least 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then I pretty much make sure I get that.
Yeah.
And then from there, yeah, getting up out of bed is probably the hardest part. Snoozing, that's a bad habit. And just recently I listened to the Russian SAS guy that you guys did the podcast with.
Calvin Smith,
Calvin,
episode
yeah.
25.
Good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. And he pours like two buckets of cold water.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I tried it.
I've tried it. It's fucked.
That's mad. Kind of enjoyed it.
Did you do it in the morning?
Yeah.
Dude.
I listened to it like midnight, that podcast, and I got up and
you got a
searched for
bucket?
buckets
Yeah.
and did it to myself the next day.
And did you feel better that day?
Yeah, I felt like energized and sort of rejuvenated.
This is what happens when you apply what happens on the podcast. Ben Garard applies what's on this podcast.
Yeah.
Fucking got like 5:36 today.
Gotta be open to new ideas, man.
Get out of the bucket.
Get those 2 buckets out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I have one final question. What's something that you think that the public in Australia doesn't know about Ben Garard that either you'd like them to know or you think they wouldn't expect? Because, like you're pretty crazy on your Instagram and that sort of thing. Is it like a quieter side? Is it like, I like to read like Chinese philosophy?
Not really. I try and be like pretty open and honest, like on my social media accounts, and give people a bit of an insight into my life. But yeah, very like strong with like connected with my family. Like I live at like my mum and dad's house.
You still live at home?
Yeah, still live at home with my young brother, younger sister, and so. And then our gym is like very family orientated. Like my brother helps out with coaching, my sister does the latest classes, and it's all kind of like a little family business. So yeah, they're a big part of my life, and just like like things to be pretty simple and like chilled, and like that's why I sort of thrive in Mittagong because there's not many distractions. Like
It's like the Richmond in Tennessee. It's like you're in.
there's no nightclub.
Yeah,
It is, yeah. It's
It
like it's
It's like,
Tennessee
bro, you come
Mittagong.
out here and we're going to be training because there's nothing else to do.
Pretty much. Mate.
Wait, do you shoot birds or anything like that?
Nah, I haven't got into like the shooting stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, but
potentially in the future
yeah.
if Rich wants
I've
to
been
hang
playing
out.
like a fair bit of golf.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got into golf again and try and get like 18 holes in like once a week or once a fortnight. That's a pretty cool way for me to like spend my rest day.
Yep.
Watch lots of new release movies. Don't really watch any movies more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try and keep things as like simple and sort of stress free as I can.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy like reaching out and like doing little bits and pieces of travel to keep this sport like not so monotonous and boring.
Is that why you came out here today?
Yeah, like I'll never turn down an opportunity to perform in front of a crowd and support some of the people that support me.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I know we really appreciate it. Like, you don't get to see the top athletes. Not everyone's lucky to go to a gym with the top athletes. Like, we don't have them. So it's cool to see them. You know, so we really appreciate when you come out. Or
Yeah.
it's not that good. So what's your top 5 for regionals this year?
Top 5, pretty much the top 5 of the Open.
So that's
for
Rob Forte.
this year, yeah.
Yourself, Chad. Wait, Chad up there?
Yeah, no, Chad's just outside probably. Although he did well, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think
DLL and Swan.
Yep.
That's what
So
it's going to
Rob,
be.
Dean, Khan, Swanee, myself, Chad, and I think Kevin Manuel is always someone to watch out for. James Newberry's proved that he can do it as well. Brendan Clark, like Zeke Grove, like that top 10 is going to be it'll be game on. But I think the top 6 at the moment have got that mental sort of toughness and that edge to be able to be great competitors for that weekend, which is I think is what's going to get you across the line.
I can't wait, eh?
Hopefully we can join you over on that flight with Tim Creature and Ben Garard to
Over to
America.
Carson.
Yeah,
Oh hell yeah!
sweet. Dude, I really enjoyed that podcast, and thanks for being so honest and speaking your mind and stuff. And we really appreciate it, and I'm sure the listeners do as well. So thanks for being on. Appreciate it.
Guys, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Feels weird having an alternate.
How long was that? It's good. It keeps you more engaged, though, right?
Yeah,
because
for
it's like
sure.
right in the ear. And
You
stuff.
can't like hear like what's happening around it.
That was the longest podcast.
Oh, that's the record.
Was that longer than
That's
Benji?
the record.
It's an
Yeah,
hour and
that's 132. We
No
broke
way.
90 minutes. Yeah.
What was Benji's?
Benji was like
Was it
120.
120?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the all-time record. I knew it would go for so long, man.
I knew it.
I had so much shit to talk about. What do you think of it?
Yeah, that was awesome, man. Enjoyed it, eh?
That was cool.
It was cool. Yeah, I've always wanted to like sort of speak about some of that stuff. And
Is that the first time you've spoken out from it?
yeah, like in detail it is, and for that amount of time it is.
Yeah, because the camera is not the
The
same.
best medium to do it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on the camera you'll never get like such a long story.
Nah.
Yeah, it's like, so tell us about this. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
And you
fuck,
sort of
I'm
go
out
off
of
a bit, but like you still answer the question enough to
Satisfy
get it out. Yeah.